Valby, the Shape of Water, is a non-attribute descendant specializing in constant AoE sustained damage. She is not as strong or as flashy as the other descendant companions, but she has quite the benefits that make her the satisfying option for you to play. Do you like cozy gameplay, buffing electric descendants, and great damage across all content? Then Valby is an excellent choice for you. I'll have some timestamps up, and if you want to skip to a certain part, that's alright too. But with that said, here comes the abilities breakdown. Starting with her passive, Water Intake. Standing on water helps Valby generate mana. It's exactly 5 MP per second and can stack with MP recovery modifiers. This is perfect for her goal of spreading her watery destruction around the area. Next up is Bubble Bullet.
Baba Booey.
It shoots a bouncing bubble that leaves puddles behind. Enemies that are standing on the puddles suffer damage over time and a laundry debuff on mobs. This provides a 20% electric/non-attribute resistance reduction, which helps you and your fellow Inez, Bunny, and Sharon's clean up quite nicely. They also help your non-attribute descendants do even more damage. You are going to be spamming this skill in the most ideal settings. Plop Plop is a ground-based AoE teleport that creates lingering damage zones. Any enemy that's hit with this is knocked down and inflicted with the laundry debuff. And with every enemy that is hit with this ability, it reduces the cooldown by 2 seconds with a cap of 10 enemies total. This skill is perfect for starting engagements from afar, as well as getting water puddles on the floor. Next up is Cleanup. You enter a liquefied state, move faster, and create a trail of water below you. This skill is the most niche part of Valby's kit, and it's often used for outpost farming, but it can be used to cover ground if, say, your grapple is on cooldown. Lastly is Laundry Bomb. Laundry Bomb summons a unique weapon, the Laundry Bomb Launcher. When the launcher is fired, it creates a laundry bomb that deals continuous damage, and when a laundry bomb is launched where one already occupies, they combine to form a larger laundry bomb. This skill is amazing for her, especially when it comes to managing bulkier mobs and boss targets. Next part of our segment is the Transcendent Mods. My coverage on these mods will be if they're worth your time, or if you can skip them for more favorable options. First up is Spiral Tidal Wave. It turns the bouncing bubbles into a projectile that flies forward. It also attracts Gluttony's Impurity Balls. Now, this Ultimate Valby exclusive Transcendent mod is actually not very good. Its projectile is very slow because it needs to attract Gluttony's impurities, and its water puddle range is severely limited when it gets to land. So you essentially have to build around this Transcendent mod instead of alongside it. But hey, it makes the Gluttony boss fight easier, except for the fact that you can comfortably erase this boss from existence without enraging him with subpar equipment. And if you are still having trouble with that, you can spam his weak points with Smithereens, Last Dagger, Restored Relic, ATAMs, and a number of other weapons thanks to weapon cores. TLDR, this mod is not worth your investment. Singeing Water turns the laundry bomb into explosive decoys that taunt enemies. They also spread laundry and do negligible damage when destroyed. Now, like Ajax and Lepic, there's not a single piece of content where I feel like this would be needed, at least not yet. And given the desires to buff everyone to Ines and Serena's level, there may not ever be one. This is another huge skip in my opinion. Tidal Wave. Instead of a trail with cleanup, you deal instant damage if you get into contact with the enemy. Personally, this makes this already niche skill even worse. Another hard pass. And then there were 3. All 3 of these mods range from you can justify its use to they are absolutely amazing. Hydro Pressure Bomb, not a bad mod. It can be used to cover a lot of ground and it deals decent damage upon landing, which is also pretty cool. You do lose a bit of DPS because the animation is so long, and it doesn't even help with water trails anymore, but it's pretty good for initiating engagement. Also, with this ability, there's Grapple Tech. You can activate your ability during the end of your grapple, and it will carry over your momentum. The same can be said if you use your grapple melee, just so long as you use your ability after you build your momentum. Build this if you have resources and you want to try something new. Water Play is not half bad either. Any Valby main worth their salt will tell you her first ability gets fairly finicky when it comes to inclines and uneven terrain. Its cast speed is also fairly swift, which is another decent boon in its favor. However, the altered water bullet itself does amazing damage to enemies, so you will be losing DPS using this mod. Again, build this mod if you want to try something new. Now lies the creme de la creme, or in this case, Belle Blanche if you rock with that French. Supply moisture is in a league of its own, and it is the primary reason why I held off talking about reactors because of the conversation. Crit versus non-crit Valby. Both builds have decent reasons for being ran. Starting with non-crit, it has a more consistent damage output primarily because it's resource efficient. Supply moisture changes Valby's water intake from regenerating mana passively whilst in water to reduce mana cost when submerged. In exchange, however, she gets a buff to critical hit rate for both skill and firearm damage, firearm attack and explosive attack, a duration buff, and a slight buff to attribute trigger rate. And because of this, crit rate Valby has a much higher damage ceiling. However, it is very mana intensive and really needs Blue Beetle maxed out to really show its stuff. With that said, you can offset the mana drain with mods, and so long as there are groups of enemies, you don't have to worry nearly as much about mana consumption. Non-crit Valby is made for marathons like Ice Maiden Challenge, where mana and mobs are far and few in between. And crit Valby is a sprinter, where mobs are plentiful and mana sources are at least semi-abundant. Most of the time, you'll be using a crit version of the build, as the amount of damage that is outputted by it is massive, and the sheer amount of mobs and mana drops will be able to sustain you with the build that I will be showing you. But I will have a non-crit bossing build as well, since they are both very important. With that said, here's the crit build. First off, we have HP amplification. My justification is that most enemies that will tickle your shield will die soon after, and I would rather have the health for those that do have the raw strength to bypass my shield completely so that I can have a fighting chance. If you need more damage or you want to bully Gluttony or something, you can switch this out with front lines, no problemo. Next is both focus on fusion and focus on non-attribute for skill power modifiers, as well as the cooldown bonuses that we do get. Skill expansion to cover more of the ground with our water, and our crit combo, emergency measures, skill insight, and skill concentration for both crit rate and crit damage respectively. Nimble fingers and MP conversion will help reduce our cooldown even further. An MP collector will help keep our mana uptime high. If mana upkeep is still an issue because of the mobs that are there, you could also use selective recovery. I would say that it's not only recommended to run a Blue Beetle maxed out, but required to take advantage of the 100% crit rate when in water. Now, next is non-crit. HP amplification is what we already talked about. Fusion amplification is a massive fusion power boost at the sacrifice of crit rate. Focus on non-attribute and focus on fusion increases our power and boosts cooldown. Skill expansion, more water range. Non-attribute amplification, more non-attribute power boost. Nimble fingers, cooldown, and MP conversion, cooldown as well. MP conversion is cooldown at the sacrifice of some MP, and MP accelerant is an increase of duration in sacrifice of MP. Skill extension is a huge duration boost, and while it's not needed for this build benefits massively from Peacekeeper and its ability Searching Peace, which grants non-attribute skill power stack for 15 seconds, which can be refreshed with each skill cast. The great thing about this build is you don't need to build into it heavily to use this effect, as it is used as a stat stick. Now it's time for reactors, friends. For crit Valby, it's going to be fusion damage and cooldown. The cooldown decrease means more water puddles, which means overall more DPS for our crit Valby. For non-crit Valby, it's going to be fusion cooldown for mobbing, and then Colossus damage cooldown for bossing. For external components, for damage, hands down, Enlightened Mage set is the play. A whopping 84 non-attribute skill power is absolutely bonkers. But if you're having trouble, you could also use the Hunter set for MP problems. Aim for HP and MP respectively on your auxiliary power, memory, and sensor, and shields for your processor. For your component cores, just push for HP and defense. Simple as that. Now is for arcade tuning. This is optimized for skill power, skill crit damage, and cooldown. I have also recommended non-attribute cohesion effect, as it cycles perfectly with the effect of Enlightened Mage. Here's the build for our non-crit. Pretty much the same as our crit, but we don't have any crit damage modifiers on here for obvious reasons. We also have a bit of MP recovery, just for good measure. And we also get that defense neutralization, which does refresh after each new enemy we hit, and it's just really good for massive amounts of damage, especially when mobbing. Now, here's the arcade tuning for bossing, which focuses on skill damage while damaging Colossus, skill power, skill cooldown, as well as MP recovery modifier. We will be running fusion tech tuning for this because we want skill duration for having our puddles up for much longer. Now, it's weapon time. As we previously mentioned, Blue Beetle is going to be the weapon of choice for all crit builds, and Peacekeeper for non-crit setups. Since there are stat sticks, investment into the archetypes is often minimal. All that is required is that you max out the unique ability for Blue Beetle, as combined with our Descendant mods is what's going to provide you your 100% crit rate when in puddles. For weapon cores, if you so choose, you can use 1 sprint speed and 1 grapple charge time mod for Blue Beetle, and 1 sprint speed and 2 grapple charge mods for Peacekeeper. And here are the mods that I recommend for both. Fire rate to increase the fire rate of Laundry Bomb, as it takes the stats of the base weapon and its modules, which is why we run 2 magazine mods, to amplify the amount of ammo we have in our Laundry Bomb. Next up is Defense Master and Tactical Change. Defense Master activates on enemy defeat and provides 128 defense for 10 seconds, which can also activate whilst you're not firing your weapon. All you have to do is activate your skill and kill an enemy. It also maximum has a 5-second cooldown. Tactical Change also provides another 128 defense for 10 seconds, but activates on weapon switch, which also activates when you use your Laundry Bomb. Finally is Inversion Reinforcement. I would go Neural Focus Augmentation for the extra max MP you get per kill, plus Adrenaline Rush, which you get additional movement speed per kill, and Probabilistic Recovery System, which provides you a 50% chance on each pickup on both health pickups and MP pickups to increase 11% HP and 5% max MP. You could also use RK Circulation Tactic if you want to per se use more of Valby's Laundry Bomb launcher. And there's my Valby breakdown. I hope you all enjoyed it half as much as I did making it. Leave a comment on another character I should be covering. Like, subscribe, and have a good one, Descendants.